Carla. First of all, I'd like to thank Sinn Féin in terms of this motion. I think we can never talk enough about care work and carers in this country, and we can all agree that carers, in a very crude form, save the state hundreds of millions of euros per year, and the care work that they do for loved ones and sometimes friends is some ways you can't put actually a price on that. And when the Family Carers Survey pointed out the kind of discrepancies in terms of care, they're quite shocking. Because the report is called the state of caring, but the state of caring again is very arbitrary and can be very hit and miss in terms of respite care, which I'll go on to later on. And the survey kind of points out many things that carers have to endure, especially financially. They have a reduced income, and I think many people have said about family carers and the means tested. It's very mean that actually it should be means tested, and I think if you're getting given full-time care to somebody, that income shouldn't be means tested, and that should be kind of I think it's a less of a worry for somebody that's in that situation. The survey also goes on about care that has to be paid privately, which is a substantial cost, and there's obviously issues in terms of private care, in terms of things for the person, the things for the house. So all this is a cost which are not kind of I suppose supported by the state. There's also issues around accommodation, and I know other people have said about adaptation grants. I mean, the adaptation grants in most local authorities takes forever, really takes forever, and there has to be more of a streamlining process in terms of accommodation, in terms of where it actually makes it kind of livable in terms of the house where people are caring. I just want to get back onto the very substantial point, Minister, about respite care. And it is quite shocking that 75% of people that give care will have no access to respite care whatsoever. Now, to me, that's unforgivable, because if you're in a situation where you're given full-time care and that person does not get any respite at all, the stress physically and mentally on that person, both the carer and the caregiver, is really difficult, And when there's no break, that can have a very detrimental effect on caregiving. And respite care is very arbitrary, and when it's very arbitrary, it is a postcode lottery where people just can't get that particular care. I was speaking to a family during the local election campaign, and I mean, as reflected from the report, they have an adult son that they have to take care on a full-time basis, and they never got one day of respite in the last 24 years. It's unbelievable. I actually couldn't believe when she told me. She said, I just can't get it. The only way I would get respite care if I actually said to the HSE, look, I can't look after my son anymore. And if that was the case, then she would get respite care in terms of her son would have to go into full-time care. But I mean, you can see how unfair that is in terms of people that are in that situation. So I think, look, there needs to be kind of a redress and a kind of to go back to where the basics of care, particularly around respite care, but also about how actually care in society is actually kind of distributed, because it's very arbitrary. And care is an essential part of any, I suppose, caring society. And we are a caring society. This country is a great country. It cares for its families, it cares for its friends and its family people. But there is discrepancies in terms of where people just can't get that public service when they need it. And if you can't get that when you really need it, people will feel quite embittered. People feel very kind of let down by society and the state, because the state have to look after people when they need a rest and they need kind of intervention. And that's really, really important. Just the final thing, Minister, is in terms of the statutory home support scheme, I think that's important that that's implemented as soon as possible. Thank you.